Yeah, so let's do something a little bit fun. I was scrolling through ESPN and I ran across this article called Bold Predictions for 2020. And it was a little panel of different people on ESPN, Dan Raphael, I forgot who else was writing in here, and they were talking about things that they predicted are going to happen in 2020. So what I did was I took it upon myself to look over this and give myself some quick thoughts on it. Now I'm gonna read some of different parts of the article and what they say, and let's have a discussion on it. The first thing that they said is what we can expect for the next 12 months of boxing is Floyd Mayweather will unretire. It says Mayweather, who turns 43 in February, will exit a nearly 3-year retirement and fight once again as part of a promotional partnership with UFC's Dana White. Well, we have heard about this the last couple of months. A couple of months ago, Floyd Mayweather said he had something big to announce, and it had to do with his partnership with Dana White. Dana White probably has wanted to get into boxing for a long time, and I think that might be his entrance to get in. The next thing says Mayweather Pacquiao 2 will open up Allegiant Stadium. The writer says, yes, I do believe this rematch will happen in 2020. And he goes on, well, I also believe that this fight is going to happen. I know it was, I think, 2018 when Mayweather and Pacquiao met in Japan. And Floyd said that he and Pacquiao were going to fight again. I do believe it's going to happen. I do believe, regardless of what a lot of people think, I do think it's going to be another 9-figure payday for both Mayweather and Pacquiao. I believe that there's a chance that they will sell that stadium out. It may not do 4.6 million pay-per-views again, but I do think there's still enough people that will be intrigued by this fight. Look, Mayweather last fought in, was it 20? Yeah, it was New Year's Eve 2018 when he fought the kid from Japan whose name I forget, in exhibition. The kid who was like 2 weight classes under him. And before that, he fought Conor McGregor in, to be honest, a mismatch, a fight that Floyd always knew he was going to win in 2017. So Floyd actually hasn't had a real boxing match since late 2015 when he fought Andre Berto. And a lot of people are probably thinking about the fact that Pacquiao just fought 2 active fighters. He fought Adrian Broner this time last year, and then he fought that was a younger fighter. Then he fought a younger, stronger Keith Thurman, and Pacquiao did his thing. So there's going to be a lot of fans, particularly Pacquiao fans, who think that he's going to give Mayweather that, at this point, I think what Mayweather cares about is he's going to get another $100+ million. Let's move on to the next thing. It says Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury go their separate ways. They write, although the deal between heavyweight titleist Wilder and linear champion Fury calls for 2 more bouts against each other, beginning with their rematch February 22. A third fight will not happen in 2020 as they go their separate ways. I believe that as well. I do think that no matter what happens next month, there's no way that these guys are going to fight again, at least not this year, fight a rubber match. Let's talk about that fight. I picked Deontay Wilder in the first fight, and I picked him solely on the fact that Fury was coming off of such a long layoff. Of course, I did the same thing this weekend with Elder Alvarez coming back, and he knocked out Michael Seals. Got that wrong. I thought that the layoff would help Seals out. It didn't. And it didn't really help Wilder that much when he and Fury fought. Fury looked sharp for a man who had been off for that amount of months. I could change my mind between now and February 22nd, but as of right now, I'm still going to give Tyson Fury the slight edge. Yes, Deontay Wilder will be better in this fight, but I also think Fury will be better. But hey, I've been wrong before. We'll just see how that goes. Next, it says heavyweight history. We will have the first undisputed heavyweight champion in the 4-belt era, which I do believe. I do think that the winner of the Fury-Wilder rematch should fight Anthony Joshua, or in other words, Anthony Joshua should fight that person and not run off and try to fight someone else. And the winner of that fight will be the lineal champion. Next, Terence Crawford will move up in weight. It says Crawford, the WBO welterweight, world title holder, is an elite fighter who currently needs marquee dance partners. The problem is that the overwhelming majority of the top 10 at 147 are aligned with the PBC. And it goes on to say that basically they think Crawford will move up to junior middleweight. I don't know how you all feel about Crawford, but I put this on him. I feel that when he re-signed with Bob Arum, knowing that most of the welterweights were on the PBC side, to me, that was a way for him to not fight these guys. Of course, I don't think that Terence Crawford is afraid of any of these guys, but it just so happens that he fights for Top Rank, and PBC, they really don't do business. And most of the welterweights are on the PBC side. So maybe he will move up in weight, being that he's in a contract, and there's no way he's going to get a top welterweight fight. The next thing they say is, it says Andre Ward will return. It said Ward won world titles as a super middleweight and light heavyweight and was one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world when he abruptly retired following his second win over Sergey Kovalev. But Ward, who will turn 36 in February, still has the competitive drive and is still in great shape. And this says a few more things about him coming back for a big money fight on ESPN pay-per-view. The only big money fight Andre Ward could possibly have is either A, if Canelo Alvarez, I know Canelo was fighting on DAZN, but they could do business together if Canelo Alvarez says he's going to come back up to light heavyweight only to fight Andre Ward. If other than that, the only big money fight Andre Ward, if he can't get Canelo at light heavyweight, is to go up to heavyweight, because there's nobody at cruiserweight who's going to garner big money. So the only way would be if Andre Ward went up to heavyweight, meaning he would have to fight either Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, or Alexander Usyk. Those would be the only fights that he could come back for big money fights. And the only way the Usyk fight is a big money fight is if he goes up and beats one of those heavyweight champions. But we'll see. Next, they say Anthony Joshua will lose. After beating Kubrat Pulev in a mandatory defense of his IBF title, Joshua will lose in a clear decision to Alexander Usyk. We were just talking about him. I could absolutely see that happening. I do think that Usyk could outbox Anthony Joshua. Do I think he could beat Wilder or Fury? I do not. But I do think that he could beat Anthony Joshua. Next, they say Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin 3 will happen. Well, okay. I suppose maybe Saul wants to put Golovkin to bed for good and get this behind him once and for all of Gennady calling him out. Look, Alvarez is going to win that fight. If that fight does happen, I'm picking Alvarez by decision. Next, Vasil Lomachenko will beat Teofimo Lopez. I also believe that's going to happen too. I do think that would be a very good fight. I like the fact that the young Lopez is calling out the king of the division, but I absolutely am going to pick Lomachenko in that fight. I'll pick him by decision. Next, it says win, lose, or draw against Lopez. Lomachenko will have his last fight at 135. Now, this was interesting because I read on in this article, and somewhere it said that they think that Lomachenko, when they say that's going to be his last fight, they're not saying he's going to go up to super lightweight. It said that they think he's going to actually drop back down to junior lightweight where there are more contenders. Let me find it real quick. It says Lomachenko will move down to a more natural and comfortable 130 pounds where there are very marketable fights against the likes of Miguel Burchett, Jamal Herring, and Oscar Valdez awaiting him. So, okay, I suppose, those are some interesting fights he could take. But let's see the Lopez fight first, and let's see what happens. Next, it says Manny Pacquiao will win another big fight. The 41-year-old Pacquiao will add to his legendary career by following his big win over Keith Thurman in July with another big win over Danny Garcia. Look, yes, it would be a big win for the legend, but not that big in my opinion. I'll tell you why. Because I always thought Manny Pacquiao was going to beat Danny Garcia. As a matter of fact, I could see him using Danny Garcia as a tune-up for the Mayweather fight. I think I wouldn't even be surprised if he knocked Garcia down. I'm definitely taking Pacquiao if he ends up fighting Garcia. Next says there will be more joint pay-per-views in 2020 beyond Wilder Fury 2. Let me see. Let me jump down. It says something about there were notable fights between boxers who are represented by Top Rank and PBC that would only happen on pay-per-view under co-promotions. Potential matchups could be Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao, Sean Porter, Vasil Lomachenko, Gervonta Davis. Possibly. Next, lightweight Ryan Garcia will win a world title. I'm going to keep it short. I absolutely believe that. I love Ryan Garcia. My son is actually a big Ryan Garcia guy, and we were both talking about this the other day, that we could see him getting a title shot this year and winning. Next, it says Andy Ruiz Jr. will be on top again. Now, this one kind of made me scratch my head. It says Ruiz will regain a piece of the heavyweight title, and a boxer born in the U.S. will enter ESPN.com's Cruiserweight Top 10. I'm kind of confused by that, because are they saying that Andy Ruiz Jr. is going to drop down to Cruiserweight? I'm hoping maybe that was a misprint, but that's kind of odd, because he already is a top 10 heavyweight. So it says for the first time a boxer born in the U.S. will enter ESPN's Cruiserweight Top 10. So what they're saying is that he's going to fight and win the heavyweight title again, but then drop down to Cruiserweight. I don't know what that's all about. Next, Berto Ramirez will win a light heavyweight title. I'm just going to say yes and move on. Shakur Stevenson will be boxing's next unified title holder. I suppose. Say whatever you want about Stevenson, but he is young and precocious, and the young man from Newark, New Jersey, who won the WBO featherweight belt by defeating Gonzalez in late October, may not have much time left at 126. So it says that he wants to make his time in the division count, and he has said he wants to face IBF belt holder Josh Warrington. That wouldn't be a bad fight. I will give Stevenson the edge on that one. Next, Gervonta Davis and Leo Santa Cruz make sweet music. So they're saying that these guys will fight. At this point, I'm going to give Davis the edge on that. Next, 2020 will be the last year in boxing for Sergey Kovalev. Absolutely. I could see him getting back in the ring one more time. But if Kovalev is going to fight in 2020, he needs to fight my guy, Artur Beterbiev. If somebody's going to knock him into retirement, it needs to be Beterbiev. He's been wanting that fight for a minute. These guys have history that goes back. That's the fight that I would like to see Kovalev go out on. And, of course, I have Beterbiev in that fight. Matter of fact, I have him by knockout. Says Gary Russell will be more active. I'll leave you guys to talk about that, whatever. I believe it when I see it. Edgar Berlanga will be the game's most exciting prospect. I can't argue with that. He has 4 fights. He's 4-0, 13 knockouts. Matter of fact, I think all his fights are knockout. Yeah, I think all his fights are knockout if I remember. And if he keeps going that way, I could see him being an exciting prospect for this year. And last is Israel Madrimov will win a world title. And it says just 4-0, Madrimov is part of an upcoming Uzbek revolution in boxing that is based out of Indio, California. Okay. I could see that. He only has 4 fights. He's a middleweight. I don't know who they would put him up against at middleweight to be a champion. In my opinion, I think 2020 may be a little too early. Let's let him get another 4 or 5 fights, and let's see what he can do from there. If I think he is 4-0 with 4 KOs as well. He is a prospect, but let's not rush it too soon. He, like I said, off the top of my head, I can't think of any middleweights who are champions that he could beat. I could think of some good fighters he could beat, but maybe not necessarily champions. Pretty much that is it. I just wanted to run through that real quick. I just really did this video because I want to do something to spark a little bit of conversation. If you get a chance to check out the article, look at it, get back with me. Tell me what your thoughts are. You know what I'm saying? Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up right here on YouTube. Give me your comments. Let's have a little back and forth between you guys. And tell me what you think about this bold predictions for 2020 that ESPN put out. Pretty much that's all I have. I'll let y'all later.